In today's video, we'll be going over the top 10 best paying job categories on cruise ships. Now, on cruise ships, there's a hotel side and a marine side. Generally speaking, the one that faces the public is focused on hospitality, and the other side is focused on running the ship. That's the marine side. Today, we're going to focus on the hotel side. Stick around to the end of the video to see which department pays the best. You might be surprised which ranks the highest. Starting at number 10, housekeeping staff. Now, the housekeeping staff are responsible for making sure that the cabins are clean and comfortable for the guests. The average starting monthly salary for housekeeping staff is going to be under $1,000. Now, while the pay does start off pretty low, they also make a significant amount of their monthly income through tips. Including tips, these workers can expect anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 per month. Now, while it might seem pretty low, these positions are typically performed by people who come from countries where an average salary of about $800 a month is good, sometimes even lower. At number 9, we have youth counselors. This category includes staff who runs the ship's youth programs and activities. So the youth counselors are actually part of the entertainment department, and their main job is keeping kids active and away from parents who want to do grown-up stuff all day. The typical starting salary for a youth counselor is going to be anywhere between $1,800 to about $2,200 per month. Now, considering the cruise ship is already a breeding ground for things like germs, viruses, illnesses, things like that, being around kids is likely to multiply your likeliness of getting sick. Plus, you're around kids of all ages all day. So consider it if you really like working with kids, I guess. At number 8, we've got the food and beverage staff. This category includes chefs, bartenders, and wait staff. Personally, some of my favorite staff, because if you get on their good side, they'll hook you up with some crazy stuff on the ship. Drinks, food, you name it, even if everything's closed. As wait staff, you'll probably earn anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month, plus tips. Now, the starting salary for a chef is about $1,000 a month. In most of the positions that I'm mentioning, as you progress, you can rank up and earn more. Plus, there are even higher positions in the kitchen like sous chef and head chef. Sous chefs generally making anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 a month, and head chefs making between $5,000 and $8,000 a month. Now, what about bartenders? The average starting pay is $1,500, but as you would expect, a large chunk of their income comes from tips. The most successful bartenders I've known usually make anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000, possibly even more, especially if you're a flair bartender. Are you interested in learning the 7 alarming things that cruise ship contracts are hiding in the fine print? Go to shiplifetv.com/contract secrets and find out for free. Because one of the biggest problems that I see with new hires is that they don't know what they're signing up for. And they show up on day one and they're expected to know everything that's in a 6-page legal contract. So go to shiplifetv.com/contract secrets to watch almost an hour's worth of free content where I break down a 6-page contract and you can learn everything that you need to about vacation, schedule, pay, overtime, benefits, and so much more. That's shiplifetv.com/contract secrets to become a member of the Shiplife TV community and get free access to the crew library. Now back to the video. Number 7, guest services staff. Now this category includes receptionists, concierge staff, and tour guides. This is actually a position that a lot of crew want to do because they get to learn about different ports and different tours. And if you're a tour guide, you get to go on these tours and get paid to go on these tours. You just have to take the guests with you. Typical salary for this staff is going to be about $1,500 to $2,000 a month plus tips. If you move up to coordinator or manager, this easily gets bumped up to about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Number 6, entertainment staff. This would be performers, musicians, and production staff. Now, the average salary range hovers between $2,000 and $3,000 a month, depending on what you do, but on some ships, some entertainers can get paid more by stacking their skills. For example, if you're a singer-dancer or a dancer-singer. Those kind of positions can easily make over $3,000 a month. Solo acts, guest entertainers, and music directors, they're likely to make between $3,000 and $4,000 a month, and possibly higher depending on skills and experience. Number 5, spa and fitness staff. Now, the spa and fitness staff is exactly how it sounds. These would be professions like massage therapists, personal trainers, and salon staff. The typical starting pay is going to be around $2,000 a month, but certain positions like massage therapists, depending on what ship you're on, can have more pay because it's a lot more valuable. And as you would expect, a position like spa manager makes more, easily over $3,000 a month. At the number 4 spot, casino staff. This category includes dealers, pit bosses, slot attendants, casino managers, and assistants in the ship's casino. Now, the typical casino staff worker is going to make around $2,000 to $3,000 a month, but the tips is where the real cash comes in, and you'll notice there's a trend going on here. If you've ever gambled at a casino, then you know how easy it is to tip the dealer, especially if you're on a hot streak. If the players are happy, you can probably bet that the dealer's happy too. It's hard to give averages because it really just depends on the cruise, the types of people who show up, where you are, what kind of cruise ship you're on, because you could have have a really great cruise and do really well in tips, and then the next one maybe not so much. The number 3 spot, photographers and videographers. Now, these are the ones who capture the memories of the guests on board the ship. The base salary range for photographers and videographers at the lowest level is going to be anywhere between $700 and maybe $1,500 a month. There are different ranks for these positions, and as you ascend the ranks, you'll get paid more, but you do get bonuses and commissions. In general, the photographers that you see floating around the ship, those are the ones who are going to be making about $1,000 or so a month. And you also see videographers floating around the ship who make slightly more. Not to be confused for the videographers who are actually shooting for the entertainment department. These are typically the ones who make the cheesy videos that you see on the screen of the captain and the cruise director. The videographers on the photo side generally try to sell you stuff. But the videographers and photographers that I'm talking about are part of the revenue department. You also have private studio photographers who tend to have a higher base, so they'll usually start a little bit more than $1,000, maybe about $1,100 to $1,200 a month. And then you also have photo managers who are in charge of the entire photo and video team. And yes, they do make a higher base, probably closer to about $2,000 a month. And they have commissions, bonuses, overrides, things like that off of the entire team. My wife was actually a photographer on 2 different ships, and without having to try to sell too hard, she would make anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 a month. With these types of positions, because you're part of the revenue department, you are expected to sell. And in my opinion, you're expected to be a salesperson first and a creative person second. So you are a salesperson who just so happens to know how to use a camera. So if you're comfortable with this and you know how to sell, you could make a lot of money. Hey, listen, if you're trying to work on cruise ships, one thing that I've noticed is really tough to do is finding the right agencies and recruiters to get you on that ship. So let us help you make that first connection with the official Shiplife TV recruiters list. It's for countries all across the world. We've done all the work for you. All you gotta do is find your country, click the link, and apply. I don't know how we can make it any easier for you. And if you act now, you might be able to get it for 50% off. That's the official Shiplife TV recruiters list. Only available at shiplifetv.com. Click the link in the description to download it right now. And at the number 2 spot, we have retail staff. This would include the sales associates and the managers in the shops on board the ship. Most large luxury cruise ships that you see are going to have an entire what seems to be a mall inside of the cruise ship. They're going to have some type of shopping experience, because if you're going to be on a cruise ship for 3 to 11 plus days, you might as well do some shopping. Now, the retail staff is part of the revenue department, and they help bring in the big bucks. So you can expect the average retail worker to make about $2,000 plus commission. Now, commission typically runs 2 ways. You've got team performance bonuses and you have individual commissions, and they're typically paid out on the 15th, not to be confused with your regular paychecks, which are paid out on the 1st and the 15th. Now, why is this on the number 2 spot? Because depending on who's on board and what your itinerary is, there's gonna be a lot of spending going on. And if you're the person who sells some high ticket items, you're gonna make some pretty good cash. I've known some retail workers to make about $4,000 to $5,000 a month because they know how to sell. And if you're a manager, higher base and more commissions. And last but not least, in the number 1 spot, in my opinion, is gonna be future cruise sales, generally referred to as future cruises. These are the people who are responsible for selling cruise packages in the future. What better time to sell somebody on cruising again than when they're actually there on the cruise ship? If you've been on cruise ships before, then you'll probably notice that there are people who look like they live on the cruise ship, and that's because there are. Someone's got to sell them those packages. Now, the typical salary is going to start around $2,000 a month for this kind of position, plus commission, plus bonuses. And here's something to consider. Since the pandemic ended, some cruise lines were actually booked up an entire year out. So cruising isn't going anywhere, and right now might be a really great way to stack up some cash with a position like this, if you know how to sell. Well, that concludes our list. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Did we miss anything? Did you like anything? Tell us what you thought.